And it's Joel McHower here in the Blue Zone at COP21, talking to Pasquale Romano, the CEO of ChargePoint. Pasquale, first of all, for people who don't know ChargePoint, give the elevator pitch.
It's real simple. We're the largest network of EV chargers in the world. We've got about 25,000 ports of EV charging in the United States, spread proportionally to where cars are. And the innovation in the business model is we convince businesses a parking lot at a time to pay for those chargers and then pay us a subscription fee annually to keep that charger on ChargePoint. What we do for them is we take care of everything. If drivers want to use those stations, they use our mobile applications for free. We don't make money on drivers. We also don't make money on the sale of power. So we allow the site owner to set whatever price, including an incentive price of $0 if that's what they want to do to attract people to their business. And the drivers don't really notice that this is a parking lot at a time system because it's all integrated under ChargePoint. So they see it as one big nationwide network, but we let the businesses have control. So as a result, our stations go in largely now without subsidy because businesses are finding that it's a good thing to support the movement of driving on electricity.
Talk a little bit about the state of the art of the technology, that it's getting faster, cheaper, that it's not a 8 hour exercise anymore to recharge a car, right?
No, it's not. In fact, so it's the right hammer for the nail you're trying to hit. So we have chargers that run the gamut of speeds. You can use a conventional charger at a workplace, say, and it'll charge your car in about 4 hours. So you can get a little over 2 cars per day through that charger, and we have some software on the mobile phone that makes it easy to get in line for that charger, and it lets you know when it's available and holds it for you so you can go use it if when you got to work, for example, they were all full. If you want to get an emergency fast charge, there's a couple of different speed grades of that as well. So if your car supports fast charging, in 20 to 40 minutes or so, depending on your car and your battery size, you can get about 80% of your battery full.
And how is the technology changing relative to battery storage at the driving range of electric vehicles? Everything is leapfrogging, continuing to at least evolve. What's the evolution of chargers, and where is it going to be in the next year relative, or next 2 years relative to where it is now?
So I think, like anything, it's a new market. So determining what the right battery size is to make that trade-off between the cost of the car and really making it useful as your only car has been, I think, the big question in the industry. And where we're coming out on this is about 150 real miles of range. Not what's put on the sticker, but 150 real miles of range, which probably equates to having about a 200-mile range on the sticker, which means under cold conditions with the climate control on, et cetera, you're getting still 150 real miles of range. That's about it in terms of sweet spot of battery size. Once you have that, and you've got reasonable charging infrastructure, which we're really getting there in the United States, you can pretty much use your electric car as your only car.
So one of the reasons you're here in Paris is receiving an award from the UN. Is it Momentum for Change Award?
Yeah.
What is that? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you win?
So they have a couple different categories for these awards. And in our category, we were in the information and communication technology category. They were looking for novel uses of general internet and communication technology to make the planet greener and to fight climate change. So with EV charging, these things are spread everywhere in parking lots, and there's no way to find them unless you have good communication technology and you use mobile app technology that's being applied to everything in our lives, applying it to EV charging. And the specific award is for work that we did with BMW and VW. They funded 2 major corridors in the US for highway charging, which is sort of the last problem to be solved to really make the car useful as your only car. So from Portland to San Diego on the West Coast, and from Boston to DC on the East Coast, we have chargers spaced every 50 miles on highways.
Are you finding that there's any difference between the East and the West Coast in terms of either driver habits or weather or other conditions that make them sort of different worlds, or is it pretty much the same?
It's pretty much the same world. I think you've got to just acknowledge a couple things, though. The distance between major city centers on the East Coast are a lot closer together. So while that corridor length in terms of total linear miles between Boston and DC is shorter than the one on the West Coast. There's a lot more people up and down that corridor and more major cities. And so there is a density factor that's certainly different. There's a bit of a weather factor. Electric vehicle batteries are not as efficient when it's cold, so there's a bit of a range reduction there, so you have to be mindful of that, but other than that, it's pretty much the same thing.
So when you and I continue this conversation next year at COP22 in Marrakesh, what's the story you hope to be able to tell about ChargePoint?
Well, I think we've gotten into now, very recently, the home and apartment and condominium market, and the highway DC fast charging market. We've always been very strong in the at work and around town chargers for parking facilities and for retail stores and things like that. What I'd like to see is the apartment and condominium problem really solved, because I think we got to get to the segment of the population that lives in those apartments and condominiums, and I think we're seeing some strong partnerships with utilities in the U.S., across the whole U.S., to go solve that problem. And then we'd like to see a bold plan jointly with car companies to put in DC charging across the entire United States on highways to really solve those problems. Workplaces are stepping up and solving the charging at work problem on their own because they believe in it, but someone has to take ownership of the highway problem and the apartment problem.
And that's how the chicken and egg gets solved. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Pasquale Romano, CEO of ChargePoint. Thanks.
Thank you.